He's the consummate hyper carry player, so we'll have to see what the draft brings for us here in Game 1. Vici on the blue side for the first one, Royal over on the red, and LeBlanc and Italy, our two standover bands, it feels like, from 5.4.
And Name, in the first winner's interview, when they went 2-0 in his first series, was quoted as saying, "I don't need escapes. I can just position aggressively on a hyper carrier like Jinx and get the most damage out." And this meta is all about tanky champions, and you need tank busters. You need the likes of Jinx and Kog'Maw to be able to get through the Cinderhulk champions. So look, he's going to have to live up to his words and really put out hyper carry performances if he's going to propel his team to finals. Vici Gaming, though, a tough ask to start week 10.
Very much so, and some targeted bans continuing here for Vici. We have the Ari band out against Corner. The Maokai has been a very popular band today, just in general. Rek'Sai is a good band. I like that Royal are targeting Dandy. That's probably the most obvious spot to go, given that Name probably feels quite comfortable against Vasily as well. But I don't know what their last band's going to be. Nothing really screams out to me on this patch, except maybe Sejuani, and even then, teams have been living up and been doing just fine.
I mean, Carry and Rumble, so Carry's champion pool, the Rumble and the Gnar both available, the 8-2 Rumble, the 7-3 Gnar, both available for Carry, so they haven't been able to decimate his pool. 3 jungle bans. I like the fact that they target Nidalee and Rek'Sai, because Vici's recent style has been kind of starving enemies of resources, getting free farm on their carries from as early as 15 minutes, the moment Marta can roam in and get aggressive wards down. You have to think Vici will just snap away Janna with their first pick. That's the most obvious thing to me, but they're actually considering the Hecarim, and valuing that over Marta's Janna is a surprise to me.
Especially when Zero is such a potent Janna player himself. So very interesting to see what Vici are going to do, and Royal might even be switching it up. I mean, Name for a while was known as a hyper carry player, but he's going straight aggression today. Lucian J4 are Starhunt's first 2 picks.
I love that the first 2 picks from Star Royal Club err towards the earlier game. They look to more aggression in the early game, because aggression in the early game is what has opened up Vici's success. That 4-0 is around monopolizing vision, rotating around that vision, allowing Vasily, an aggressive player, as you mentioned, to just play to his strengths, play aggressively with lane-dominating champions like Lucian and Graves. Lucian's probably the priority pick in that situation, especially in this 5.6 meta where everyone's stacking health. And my goodness, he locked in Udyr insta-lock.
Yeah, Dandy really wants it. I mean, you talked about him changing styles from a utility player with good vision to a carry player. If there is a carry jungler, it is certainly Udyr. So Udyr, Janna, and that's a great combo as well.
And Udyr can also walk up to a Jarvan and skirmish him very, very early. So I feel like it's almost an arms race at this point. They picked the Lucian Jarvan. I thought that was enough to stop the arms race, but Udyr, they're really going for some early game power. This has left a lot of priority champions open when you go for 3 jungle bans, though. Diana's been so popular from a lot of teams. They're going to lock it in. They're giving away some of their solo lanes here, and they're waiting to see what does Vici have to show. I thought Udyr would be a big curveball, but there might be more.
I mean, potentially a flex pick here, but now with the Gnar there as well, unlikely. Diana should be in the mid there for Cornin. Calder will take his Gnar back into the top, and one of his best-looking champions in early weeks of the LPL. I'm not sure how Gnar does in this particular matchup, likely up against the Hecarim with the Udyr locked in, but Vici already, 5.6, we expected things to change, and things have been changing today.
I mean, Jarvan has uncleansable CC from level 2, and Hecarim doesn't take flash. It's a range versus melee matchup. Plenty of auto attacks coming through. I feel like Vici have kind of been outthought in this pick ban process, because now they have to go to Graves. And I was just about to mention that Graves, against the health stackers, the bursty nature of Graves, really a burst champion at first, and then transitions into consistent damage, is undone a little bit by all the health stacking that's coming through. You'd prefer Lucian, who can be a tank buster in the late game. And now they've gone for Twisted Fate, who very quickly will find it hard to stand up in lane against Diana. Of course, the first Destiny might be largely able to get without too much pressure, but of course from level 6 onwards, Diana feels like a different champion when you get access to Luna Rush. The first 2 picks of Jarvan and Lucian have set up a strong draft phase from Starhunt Royal Club, but with this sub-jungler and the big question mark of what exactly does Udyr do in the 5.6 patch jungle, Vici certainly have some questions that Starhunt Royal Club are going to have to answer.
Yeah, and that last pick, Nami, as well. I mean, we know that Zero likes to play disengaged supports, but I'm not sure it exactly fits the comp. It's not quite the aggression, but definitely going for more of that late game, as we do see Hecarim versus Gnar as our first matchup in the top lane, and Carry going to go back to carry champions.
And look, Gnar's definitely going to have lane control in that lane. With the threat of the Jarvan game especially, the lane swap will be the big question. Will we see the Hecarim lane swapped upon and potential dives coming through with that lack of flash? Dandy on Udyr, we don't know much about what to expect about except from power clears. In the mid lane, It's going to look good for Korn after level 6, absolutely. The standard AD carry, going for the early game carries coming through. I'll come back to the Nami pick, actually, when it comes through. Nami and Nami. This is going to be confusing once again. But the one thing you can say, Udyr doesn't like to be kited, and the extra movement speed and disengage coming through from the Nami might be very useful at dealing what Udyr puts out in a fight.
Yeah, that's excellent. I mean, again, the other big disengage support with Janna taking away his Nami, so very good point there, and that makes...
Nami.
Damn it. You're going to do this to me all day, aren't you? Well, I mean, I like what Royal are doing. I like what Vici doing, especially with the kind of wrench thrown into the works there with the Udyr. Haven't seen Dandy play yet, but like you said, he hasn't put a foot wrong so far.
And look, there's a lot of skirmish power coming through against the Jarvan. You can stand up. The bear stands, of course, will interrupt any of the channels coming through from the Jarvan. We could see very early skirmishing coming through. Will it be the power farming Udyr? Will he go for the Tiger and the Phoenix stance to go full DPS? I guess we don't know, but we'll find out soon.
Well, we'll find out very soon as we're going to jump straight into our first game. And welcome back, everyone, to our first game between Vici Gaming and Starhorn Royal Club. It's been a pretty interesting draft so far. We can see some very festive skins coming through here as well. As Nami, I actually can't remember the name.
Namati.
Thank you very much. And you can see the observers enjoying the skins there as well. Definitely Dandy and Zero mixing it up a little bit. I think definitely not Udyr has been spotted somewhere along the map, but we'll have to see what happens because Dandy actually has Udyr, and I'm very curious to see what he does with this champion.
It definitely wasn't just this game that had the interesting drafting. From the first game, the Karma versus Vladimir lane matchup, we've seen a Bard. We're seeing some interesting skins this game. China has embraced the global craziness of patch 5.6 with aplomb, and you have to smile. But it's going to be interesting to see what Dandy can do on this Udyr. You feel like in the late game, Nami's going to deal with a lot of what he wants to do. It's so hard to gap close against the consistent kite that will come through from Zero. And then again, they're very confident with the Twisted Fate. They're happy to blind pick this champion, but you worry that just like there is with, say, Fizz top or other carry top laners, you worry that there'll be times when Hetong won't be able to enter lane to the assassination potential of Diana.
Well, we are going to change things up slightly. We actually have a lane swap initiated by Vici, I believe, moving their Graves into the top lane. So potentially standard lanes coming through, but Dandy and Carry are going to start things off by jungling together.
Yeah, I mean, with the double jungle coming through, we see Nami and Nami on the bottom side of the map. So it is going to be the lane swap initiated by the Hecarim team. That's certainly not one you see very often. There was no aggressive wards down, I believe, at level 1, so perhaps it was just a bluff gone wrong. But the result is going to be the lane swap initiated. Maybe that will open up Mana to do his traditional roaming and just get some global presence down. It's not quite the Annie with the level 1 stun, but Janna, a very fast champion. You have access to CC at level 1 or 2, depending on what you skill. You can still do a lot of things.
Yeah, perhaps just opting out of the matchup. Nami is quite good in lane, and Lucian probably beats Graves just a little bit, but going to play a little safer. We'll have to see, though, that does at least give Dandy a lot of space and possibly take some pressure off Hetong. Although with that lane now isolated, Korn, especially if he levels up, could start to bully the Twisted Fate like you've suggested.
And I'll agree with you that Nami is definitely a favorable laning matchup against Janna. You have sustain, you have similar poke. You will win in a 2v2 lane matchup, but it's not necessarily a one-sided lane matchup. It's fairly even with the advantage towards the Lucian Nami. We might actually see the meeting in the jungle, though.
Dandy actually in trouble. Blank missing that combo, though, and Dandy will run away, but Marta's going to save him. They actually might even turn it around. Blank just gets ignited, I believe, by the Janna. Now the port going to come through onto the banner. Zero with a great heal over the top of the wall, but Hetong goes in and gets the kill. Korn actually had the port, now goes in onto Hetong. Name is trying to chase him down, but nothing's coming through, and the first blood comes onto Royal's new sub-jungler.
And Twisted Fate with the Ghost coming up trumps in that situation, able to get in there and pick the kill. Big mistake coming through from Blank, missing the EQ combination. Just went too cautious with it, just too shallow with the EQ. Could have gone much more aggressively and followed through. And the result is the kill going through Twisted Fate. Definitely not ideal kill distribution either if you're Starhorn Royal Club.
I mean, thankfully, Blank will go back and get his blue buff. Feel a little bit delayed as far as clear goes, but doesn't lose an extra buff as a result. It's actually a very cute jungle path by Dandy. I think he was trying to bluff them into a 3-buff by starting red, but it all shakes out okay. Blank will just start a little bit behind, given that he's died once already.
I was being a bit facetious when I talked about the Phoenix Tiger, but he had both those stances. That's why you saw so much damage coming out from the Udyr. He just DPS'd down Blank almost instantly, just lived due to the heal coming through from Nami, and then of course the blue card to pick up the kill from Twisted Fate. It was a very interesting extended engage. Marta's actually spotted out by a ward despite being fairly defensively positioned. And this game, it started a bit crazy, and it's going to continue that way.
Dandy going to take away some of the buffs here as well. The top side of the jungle should belong to Vici, although with everyone roaming around, it's actually interesting. We basically have three different 1v1 lanes in roaming supports and junglers.
The roam has just continued and continued in the LPL. Dandy looking at his maxes, actually has 1 point in every ability. Carries caught by a bubble.
Yeah, he's actually going to take a bit of damage, but will devastating charge out of the way. And you know, it's funny that Udyr is going to have a point in every ability, but you can do that as Udyr, so why not?
Absolutely, you're very, very flexible. Just be interesting to see what the maxes are. Do you go for the turtle second for a bit more tankiness? Do you just build a Cinder Hulk and then skill both your damaging abilities and just go for the strong trades? Speaking of trades,
Carry actually now getting exhausted there, but Name going to come back in. Mata the decent damage with the spell thieves coming through for a bit of harass, and Zero out of mana now as far as healing goes. So the very odd 2v2 lane of Vici doing very well against the Lucian Nami.
I mean, it's a very, very awkward 2v2 in that Hecarim is obviously going to get out-traded by Lucian and Nami is out-trading Janna. So in both situations, you expect Starhorn Royal Cup to be able to win that 2v2. In terms of laning in general, you have to say that Starhorn Royal Cup have won these lane matchups, but the first blood kind of tips the game towards Vici. It's actually surprisingly big gold lead. 1,300 gold. Looking down the numbers, Twisted Fate in particular has benefited from Diana's very weak pre-6 laning phase. And otherwise, things are pretty even. Yeah,
Blank does come in, actually wards up that bush. So Dandy, who was waiting for quite a long time there, might actually return. He's going to sneak back in. Blank could be in a bit of trouble. Kohler going to start auto-attacking, but Dandy is very strong at this stage right now. The Q just missing. Twisted Fate going to join it to the top as well. Blank, no, actually gets cancelled. Very nice play by Korn.
Yeah, Moonfall cancels it by Korn. Had to use his flash because doesn't have Lunar Rush available. That could have been a really devastating first Destiny, but now it actually goes out with a whimper. No Destiny at all.
Yeah, so Korn will, approach level 6. Hetong, of course, hitting his, just uses his ulti there, but we'll see what Korn can get done here. Actually, not getting the second point in the Power Cascade, which I don't think we've seen too much of in the LPL.
So, a lot of players do it, but in this situation against Twisted Fate, I think you have to respect the Destiny and have an interrupt. No interrupt otherwise available. Twisted Fate hilariously has the bugged gold card above his head, so really telling us that he's ready for the stuns.
Yeah, Hetong always knows. I mean, he just always picks the card. He knows what's going on. Vasily will move back after his first little buy. He might have enough for a BF sword, probably there with that CS, but we'll see if they want to swap back now. This is the time to swap back, secure some vision around the first dragon, and there is the BF sword coming through for Vasily.
The BF sword for Vasily will be able to play very aggressively, does have the AD advantage, but he's swapping up to the top lane, ceding any hope of dragon control, and looking to push.
Yeah, Name's actually there as well, so Royal almost swapped Kohler back down to the bottom side here, so not a whole lot of dragon control. A lot of roaming by both teams actually happening this game, so maybe just want to try and get these winning lane matchups in the right spots for Royal.
The result is, as you mentioned, very low dragon pressure coming through. Udyr might be able to solo it, though, at this point, given that he's going for a very offensive skill, as far as we can tell. It's still going to be the Cinder Hulk as the jungle item, you can tell by the Ruby Crystal, barring maybe the straight Trinity Force and ignoring a jungle item altogether, but most likely going to be the Cinder Hulk.
Yeah, we'll have to, when we do brush by Udyr once again, we'll have to see if he is maxing that Phoenix, because Cinder Hulk Phoenix sounds like a lot of AoE clear to me.
But you're never really locked in. That's kind of the uniqueness of Udyr, is that you're not going to necessarily max out more than a couple. So it is going to be the Phoenix max, so still is going for the AoE clear mostly. What his second point in will be Telltale. With the Cinder Hulk, I expect it's going to be the total. Maybe he just wanted to go for the fastest clear possible with the Tiger and Phoenix at levels 1 and 2, and of course it helped him so much in the trade. Observer very much liking the skin he's used. They have exclusive vision, there's a green wall down, they have control the Scuttle Crab, and should be a very safe dragon control, but Hecarim will come help.
Yeah, Prophet Smithy knowing that Udyr could in fact solo it from this stage, but does bring carry in just in case, probably just to ward them off with his ulti. Now that Hecarim has hit level 6, Kohler can't join in, is only level 5, and again with 80 carries being on the top side, that's a very easy first dragon for Vici.
Blank is near the dragon, but actually would have been spotted out. The wards, as always from Vici Gaming, are super, super impressive. They had warding on the Cove, on the enemy Gromp. They have wards, similar wards on the top side of the jungle. Vici Gaming have definitely evolved in terms of their ward coverage. They started off over-warding, and their team just seemed a bit unconfident or not confident as to what to do with all the warding. Then they started under-warding, going for those carry items on the likes of the AP Nidalee jungle. Now it's somewhere in the happy medium. The big benefactor of that is Vasily, who's been able to play so much more aggressive, rack up huge CS scores. Not necessarily in this game. For once, doesn't have a highly favorable 2v2 matchup. He had to go for a fairly negligible, maybe even slightly behind matchup. But regardless, the team has found a lot of success from their shift in strategies.
Yeah, and certainly Vasily just fine in the lane right now with BF Sword versus Pickaxe Longsword, but you can see Zero and Name still trying to get aggressive. We see Barmy Cinder in the inventory there for Blank as well, so building it towards that Cinderhawk, and you have to expect Dandy's going to do the same.
Absolutely. That's as far as we can tell what's going to be the situation. We've seen plenty of curveballs tonight, so anything is possible. Twisted Fate, the first Destiny that completes, will be very interesting. You know, we always talk about the first Destiny. It was Interrupters. That was excellent play by Korn to interrupt that, even without the Lunar Rush available. With the Abyssal Scepter starting to come through, I feel like this lane's going to become a lot tougher for Twisted Fate. So if he doesn't make his impact in other lanes, his own lane, his own 1v1 matchup, it's going to be an issue.
And Hatong looking to move now. You have to think, yeah, they do want to gank the top side of the map. Dandy wrapping around as well. Nami in a whole host of trouble. Everyone flashes. Zero actually, I believe, gets locked up. Carries there as well. Nami goes down. Korn is here. He's teleported back, but Zero's now as well. Now Blank will come in, diving onto carry with the ulti. There's the Lunar Rush coming through, but too much damage coming in. Blank gets picked off by a red card. Mata will channel the monster, and they're just going to keep pushing.
It was weird to see the re-engage from Blank just because they haven't committed 5 members. It's 5 members from Vici, but Nar is still bottom, picking up the wave here from Cola. He didn't use his teleport. His teleport not available till just now. Unfortunate time Star World Cup. They lose a turret as well. Now will do a lot of damage to bottom, but Hecarim's pretty fast. They might not actually lose that turret.
We'll have to see what happens there as Vasily just going to push in a wave and back off. Mata has already recalled despite being on top of a ward, so he should be okay. Now Korn will return to the mid lane, and bottom tower still getting worked on here by Nar, so he might just be able to finish it, although now transforming to Mega Nar, that actually might hurt him in that push.
Exactly, the pushing in Mega Nar so much more risky, especially with Udyr on that side of the jungle. No vision whatsoever means you have to respect the potential of multiple members coming, despite the fact that you already saw all the shenanigans in top lane. Looking over to Dandy, still don't know his second point because he's just been maxing out the Phoenix stance with a point in all his other abilities. Looking in aggressively, you have to think the wards and potentially the turret dives will begin.
I mean, yeah, he can have a try in and maybe even do this to Blank, who's now going to face check Dandy. Dandy going to turn on the damage, goes in the Tiger stance, EQ out low from Blank, but Dandy will get what he really wants, and that's the Grom.
Because you get the extra attack speed with the Tiger, then switch into Phoenix for the extra Phoenix procs. Very good use of abilities. Not surprising, though, on a non-standard jungle pick, at least in competitive, doing good things so far as Dandy, but I remain to be convinced that he can really overcome all the CC, specifically from Zero, in a real team fight.
Yeah, well, the second tower, does get dropped by Vici as they've gotten the top tower and pick up the bottom with a nice rotation from Vasily. You've got a pickaxe just for a bit of early flat damage. We'll have to see when that next dragon's going to come through. Not quite up yet, I don't think, after the first one getting taken out by Vici. Hatong in the mid doing what it needs to do on Twisted Fate. And we've seen Hatong, at least recently, maybe not in the LPL, play a lot of Twisted Fate.
And we were very worried about the potential of him losing the 1v1 matchup. When you get a huge snowball Destiny, as he was able to, now 2-0-1, perhaps you'll start to build items towards dealing with what Diana's going to be able to pull out. She's very close to Abyssal Scepter. The kill pressure is getting higher and higher in the 1v1. But if the Destinies keep being successful, maybe it's not relevant.
And you know what? We've seen a lot of Dianas use teleport before. I think Shie famously for World Elite when they played at IM Katowice was using all the Diana teleports all the time. I like what Korn's done here. He's actually responded very well with his port to try and add some of the Twisted Fate pressure. But at the end of the day, that's a very long summoner spell cooldown, and Twisted Fate's just going to be able to use his ultimate much more freely than you can use your teleport.
And the exploitable nature extends to the fact that now he has less kill pressure in a 1v1. We've already seen that Hatong loves to split push on this Twisted Fate. At least if he had Ignite, he'd be able to have kill pressure, force the ports, force the engages through from the Twisted Fate, just so he couldn't split push. But even though he hasn't rushed the Lich Bane in this game, there is the very real threat that the split push will come later in the game.
Dandy actually has a second point in bear stance, so maybe maxing that second. Just running around the map, clearing camps and speeding his way through, stunning people. I mean, another great rotation gives Vici their third outer turret, and you mentioned it in the draft, Papa Smithy. This is exactly how Vici have been playing for, what, 2-3 weeks?
And even though it started off slower, even though they don't have the really advantageous AD carry matchup, in fact, Name is out-farming Vasily by 16 CS, which is pretty significant at 13 minutes. They're already up 5,200 gold. That's a massive advantage. Not off the back purely of turrets. There's a lot of gold been got in CS values as well. Twisted Fate's 30 CS up in the mid lane.
Yeah, I mean, it's just Hatong being able to pressure a bit more, Korn using those teleports, not being able to find anything, just not getting the extra gold, and then coming back to the lane and falling behind in CS. I mean, Name will get the Grump, keeps getting items up, but the timings as far as items go are going to be fairly similar given that Vasily has those 2 assists, and next dragon's going to be up in 22 seconds. I don't know if Royal can even think about fighting it.
I just feel like teams against Vici need to put themselves in situations where they ban the Twisted Fate, who is able to skillfully move away from the bubble coming through from Name, or just force them. Definitely don't blind pick your soul laners and invite the Twisted Fate. Now, while it's not a wonderful match to Fate, it's okay as there's the Destiny.
Yeah, Blank could be in trouble there. Blue card actually hitting on, but Zero going to take a big chunk of damage. Dandy coming through, but Cola has already ported in, forced to hop away towards his teammates. So as Hetong finds a stun there, big damage onto Cola, who's not in Mega Now form yet, and Dandy just running forward, zoning everybody away.
So if we're going to call out Blank for the EQ, we have to call out Hetong for the blue card there. Definitely not the best initiation option. Just probably went for the panic gold card lock. Didn't get it, so they don't pick up anything from that use of the Destiny. Already have Morellonomicon. Going to be more Citadel. They at least get the enemy, control the enemy blue buff. Dragon is available, and this should be the Dragon for Vici Gaming. The second Dragon, I believe.
Yep, second should be coming up now for Vici, so we'll see if they're able to pick it up. No contest coming, so they will indeed be able to get it. Dandy going to tear through that on his Udyr, and I have to say it's been kind of a funny looking pick. Dandy just speeding around the map, and definitely not Udyr, but he's looked great so far. Just the same Dandy, no matter the champion, whether it's a carry or more utility, he just runs around, applies pressure, and gets those wards in.
I mean, look, the thing about the Udyr is, okay, he's only got 1 kill involvement, which is more than the Jarvan, but that's not the point I'm looking for. It's the fact that he's causing a lot of pressure. He's dissuading people, he's getting people to move away. He opened up first blood for his mid laner, and they've got the 3 turrets largely from the fact that he's had more jungle pressure than a Jarvan, despite the skirmish advantage for Jarvan in 2v2s generally, with that uncleansable CC from level 2 onwards. Looking at the gold values, he even selfishly has 1,200 gold more than his opponent, largely just from farming and also the global gold from the turrets.
I mean, he farms so quickly with the Phoenix Dance Cinderhawk going on. I mean, again, Dandy just running around the map, speeding through. Now going to take out the Scuttle Crab.
And actually takes the blue buff for himself. He's getting low on mana, so he gave one to his enemy, gave one to his mid laner, can pick up one for himself.
Yeah, Hetong got the Royals blue, so Dandy again going to look for some pressure. And we've seen Nunu do this to a lot of early pressure junglers by just constantly tagging them in the jungle and being annoying. Dandy is doing a very similar thing, but instead of the like, hi, I'm here, I know where you are pressure, it's hi, I'm here, I'm going to kill you if you show up pressure.
And when you were considering teams that would have benefited from the 5.6 changes, you would have said Nunu-based teams like Snake, for example, where Nunu gets even stronger with Cinderhawk helping out his build paths and all those situations. And to some degree, Vici have looked very good when they've played Nunu. In this situation, Nunu's available. They lock in the Udyr. It feels like he's doing a very similar job in terms of selfishly causing map pressure, powering down camps. Doesn't necessarily set up his AD carry to carry, but it's Graves, who's mostly about burst, especially in this early game, a bit more self-sufficient in general. The Udyr pick so far has come out just trumps.
And it's created so much space here for Vici, and that's why Vasili's caught back up in CS. Why Hetong is constantly pressuring and able to get ahead in his lane. Even Hecarim actually carry, who remember started in a swap, now it's Cola, could be in trouble. Hetong going to move in, Danny going to come in. The ulti there from carry as well. Cola's for quite a while. Wall up there, Buster now, and a great bowler will lock them all up. The tidal wave going to come through. It will take carry, but not Hetong. Dandy, though, low on health, has to run away. Cola is somehow still alive. Will finally die to Hetong. Vasili now going to rotate in. Zero has to flash away. Korn in there, and Name still walking there, can't join the fight.
I believe that Korn cancelled his teleport, expecting Cola to die much earlier. Of course, awkwardly, Cola did live. The teleport would have come up. Trump Starhorn Foil Club finally now collapsing on the top. It's just a 1-for-0 trade. But again, they're using this Udyr just like it's Nunu from another team, just going there, tanking up the turret, and opening up the Twisted Fate Destiny games.
Yeah, now they're going to start pushing in with 3 members up here. Might be able to do some damage to this turret, but Vasily is still here on the Graves with some wave clear. Carry actually waiting for a kill there as Nama used his ulti to pressure Vasily, but Carry going to come in now. Devastating charge, going to force out the flush. Blank will run away there as well with his EQ combo, and Vici will protect their outer turret in the top lane.
And Name had to flash into the Devastating charge to ensure that it wasn't used to displace him closer to Graves' Janna. So has to use the Summoner spell despite the fact that the Onslaught of Shadows wasn't available from the Hecarim. They'll continue power farming though. Dandy's at least controlling the enemy jungle, you'd have to say. Already picked up the enemy blue buff, now going to pass over the red buff. Vici have basically complete map control, and it's a repeat of their last 4 games. They just completely starve the enemy team out of any resources.
And we're going to have a replay of that last little engage.
So we're going to see the replay coming through. No, Corns was cancelled by Marta. Have to credit Marta for that one. It looked like it was a self-cast cancel. It was understandable. Cole had fallen to about 200 health, but Marta, very nice on the cue.
Great awareness, and we see that a lot with Dandy and Marta. Dandy continuing to run through already. No, actually doesn't even have an upgraded sweeper yet. Just running through with the Raptor sense there to clean out a buff. That'll be even better for Dandy. Can basically be a secondary support as far as running through and able to get deep vision goes. If you look at the map, the the places where the blue wards are right now are ridiculously close to Royal's base.
They're so aggressive, and they can be, because they've already had basically exclusive map control for the last 10 minutes, and it's just a repeat. You'd have to think the teams would have dissected what Vici Gaming were doing 2 weeks ago. Of course, Vici Gaming not playing in the Demacia Cup. They've had a week off, so they brought out some new champions like the Udyr in this situation, but they're repeating their performance against Gamti and Snake that we saw in Week 9 with aplomb, and teams seem to have no answer to just all the pressure that both the skirmish junglers, strong laners, and amazing vision control of the likes of Dandy and Mata can put out.
Yeah, Dandy even stealing away the Gromp there from Nama. He's been farming it pretty much on cooldown recently, and now Vici going to aggressively move forward. They've cleared out all of the outer turrets. They've got exclusive vision on both sides of the jungle. That's going to mean a blue buff now, probably for Hatong getting donated over, though it doesn't really matter who gets it, but Dandy will give it to his mid laner. Dragon is back up in a minute, but Vici just so much space, and they can rotate so effortlessly between lanes now that Royal just have to kind of play back at their base and try and find some farm.
And a scary thing for Royal, they're actually on course for having the perfect game against them. 3 turrets to 0, 4 kills to 0. Just haven't been able to pick up any objectives. 2 dragons to 0 as well. I mean, the thing about Royal is they're just hanging back. They think, okay, we're not that far behind. They actually are a long, long way behind. 8,000 gold just because of being starved out of every resource on the map.
And just can't get aggressive. Can't use the Diana pick to start a big fight. Even Kohler and Blank haven't been able to find any sort of fight. Every initiation or ultimate seems very defensive. Carry now with the Trinity Force coming through. Hatong has an unbelievable amount of items. That Twisted Fate passive and those 3 kills coming up big as far as extra gold goes.
And look, they're starting to get some defensive wards down, but they've been consistently cleared out. There's the Destiny.
Yeah, right onto Nami. Hatong's going to come in. There's the gold card as Mata comes in with the extra damage. It doesn't really matter, and Mata himself will get the kill.
It looks very easy coming through from Vici. So many AP items on the Twisted Fate. Has an embarrassing stack of gold already, as you were mentioning. They keep powering down lanes, and this is what Vici does. They get to a situation where everything on the enemy side is warded. You've already had your Gromp nicked away, let alone your blue and red buff. You're never going to be able to contest for Dragon or Baron. And then when you see one of the enemy AD carry, obviously overextended, basically farming out minion waves horizontal to your own Gromp, you can't even go into him because you don't know. Is the enemy team there? Is it the Twisted Fate? Is it just the jungler in his pocket? You never know, and Vici thrive on that misinformation for the enemy team.
And you know what? I respect the 3 bans against Dandy. His Nidalee and Rek'Sai especially are very powerful, and I can understand banning them, but I think you already talked about it. In the second game, and Royal looks like they're already going there. Ban the Twisted Fate because it's the added pressure. Dandy, Mata, and Hatong getting to roam on top of you, just leaving Vasily and Carry safe to play these carry champions like the Graves, like the Hecarim. It's just too much.
And the Sejuani ban feels almost like a respect to Dandy as a player rather than necessarily to Vici's playstyle, because Sejuani can't do the things Udyr does. If you had banned the Udyr, if you just had known, you'd heard whispers of Udyr somehow if you were starting World Cup, they just play Nunu and do basically the same thing. You cannot ban enough champions to take away every control jungler, but he's just going for a control jungler with strong laners and a Twisted Fate in his pocket, and it makes all these strategies, all this aggression, it's just layers upon layers of doubling down on what Vici do well. They have an AD carry who plays aggressive, they have a jungler who plays aggressive, and they're excellent at warding, so just make it all easy for everyone.
Yeah, Mata aggressively using tornadoes, getting vision, clearing out some wards now, does have the upgraded sweeper, good to go, and just nonchalantly walking through Royal's jungle and warding it up. And again, Mata going to find another ward. Does actually time out the oracles, so knows it's there but can't clear it out. No dragon up yet, but Hatong's even started a split push now, and I can't blame him. He doesn't really need to be anywhere else. The team's taking care of it.
He's not going for he's not pigeonholing himself into the Lichbane Twisted Fate for only split push. He's going for basically a team fight build, but again, can enact the split push, has a global or semi-global in this case. Global enough, it'll get him to the mid lane if that's where the rotations occur. Vici, the scary thing for me, Page Time, is that Vici seem to be combining the best parts of their Korean players and the best parts of the aggressive Chinese League of Legends style into a hybrid style that looks nigh on unstoppable. It's a big thing to say, but they're playing League of Legends in just an impressive way that no one else is repeating in the LPL.
Oh, Dandy even here as well. Korn can't even get a kill for himself. Would have probably never to get the 1v1 kill, but Dandy always there.
Vici and EDG definitely the trailblazers in recent weeks. OMG and Snake both falling down to either Vici or teams in general. And Vici just keep powering up the spots, and you can't see them losing this game. What a burst of damage.
Yeah, goodbye, Zero. Tongia gets credit for that kill, but plenty of burst between the picker card and Vasili's ultimate collateral damage. I mean, at this point, Zero died basically under his tower. That's 6 kills for Vici, which is not that many, but that gold lead is a very different looking story. 9,000 gold ahead already, and it's the same thing. There are low kill games, but Vici just have so much control of the map as Blank. Gonna get caught out now. Nami even gets knocked up as well. The ulti comes through for carry. Nami forced to flash away. Mata taking a little bit of turret damages. The Carling will get swapped out. Mata, though, will not fall down. Korn actually going to reinitiate. Cola now in Mega Enough. I'm going to look for the ulti. Does flash ulti. They gets carry. And Dandy. Carry still not dead. Does finally die as Tong now comes into the mix. Blank trying to reinitiate onto Vasili. Does catch him, but Korn gets Mata as Twist of Fate trades away towards Nah. Korn will get hit by the stun as the flashes do come forward, but a good zone is will keep him safe. And now Zero still running in as the stun, and the cards can move. That's actually enough to kill poor Mata. That death cap already done for Tong, and a 3-for-2 trade. A bit messy, but Vici just don't care.
Basically 2 AP a minute coming through, 20 AP a minute coming through from the Twisted Fate. Already has 500 AP, a massive stack of AP on her Tongue. That's why it was deceptively huge burst damage. He already has double needlessly large rod items and a 20% CDR item. Her Tongue is embarrassingly fed this game.
Yeah, he's even have his boots enchanted as well for the distortion, so Ghost and Flash run even shorter cooldowns, which is a luxury purchase as far as item enchants go. Hetong even going to steal away the blue buff. Doesn't need Dandy for this one. He's just got so much going on. Almost level 16 as well. I mean, again, it seems like Dandy and Mata set up those players very well, but where it once would have just been Vasili that would have seen reap the benefits, Hetong and Carry have started reaping them as well.
Exactly. Hetong and Carry and Vasili, the 3 Chinese players, have integrated themselves into this lineup, into this Korean vision dominance duo perfectly. It's taken a long time. It was about week 7 or week 8 where they really started to show their true potential, but Vici finally get it together after the embarrassment of the non-performance against IG in the Demacia Cup. Subsequent to that, they just keep winning.
I mean, look at these here. You're going to see all of the buffs being taken by Vici. 7 reds and blues, only 2 apiece for Royal, and of course the Dragon shutout still continuing. Baron, of course, not been taken because neither team needs it. I mean, Royal can't go there, and Vici just don't want it.
And Royal, look, they've saved off the perfect game, but that's about all they have to show for themselves this game. Name has been fine. He's been farming, but unfortunately the rotations are just completely outdone by Vici Gaming.
And it's not a thing where one player can, rally behind it. It's not even a super late game scaling comp like a Juggernaut where Name could potentially excel. I mean, at this point, Royal are just getting out-rotated by Vici, and that's not something that Royal have practiced. They're still finding their feet as a team, and yeah, they've got some great individual players. Name especially sticks out as a star, but he's not been set up to carry, and for the rest of Vici, that's certainly true.
And the viewers need to understand, it's not just a 4th place versus 9th place match where Vici are outmatching Star Rocket. They did the exact same thing to Snake. This is just what Vici have been showing us consistently in the last few weeks. They've been on the top of the form charts in the LPL right next to EDG. They're going to take down a Baron. Of course it's uncontested because they're against a Twisted Fate. They've never got a chance to put any wards down, even towards their own red buff, let alone the Baron. It's the freest of Barons for Vici.
Now the Twisted Fate ulti is going to come through. He's going to maybe get a bit of vision. Korn actually going to dive in onto Mata, but he ultis for the disengage. Tidal Wave going to come through. Hetong going to go through, but Name's already been picked off. Blank is the next to go down as Grave gets the double. Zon is there for Tong. Korn's forced to respond with the same. Tornado not quite timed enough. Vasili might get caught out, but kites back perfectly and gets himself a triple.
The gold card was just about to, that was clutch play coming through from the Twisted Fate, but that's 3 kills, a Baron buff minion. The front line's very, very tanky, so it should be at minimum an inhibitor for Vici Gaming.
Yeah, might lose at least one Nexus turret. Hetong is in the top side of the map as well, looking to take out more turrets. He'll get the tier 2 just on himself, and Vici might even find time to rotate up there. There's Hetong with his own Baron up minutes taking out another turret. Vici seems like they'll have to back away, but the gold lead is just absurd at this point.
17,000 gold at 28 minutes. This is with all the changes to Dragons. If you'd added in the previous Dragon goal, we would have been talking about over 20,000 lead. Vici, they're going to take a Dragon on the way out, because why not? It's up there just at the right time. Here's what we prepped earlier. It's going to be their 4th Dragon to add just another win condition after already breaking the base, after already taking the Baron. Man, Vici Gaming are a good team, pastry time.
Vici Gaming are a good team, and they've looked so strong. Today, it's nice to see them still be playing the same way. The patches changed. They weren't playing in Demacia Cup for some extra practice, but they've taken their time. They've really warmed up in the last few weeks, and they just haven't missed a beat since the last time they played, and they've even had a break.
And I feel like they've taken a lot of a lot of credence from what Snake have been able to do this season, who have basically two main strategies: protect the hyper carry or poke out with the Xerath pick from Barker. It feels like Vici, they understand what their team's good at. Vasili's good at being aggressive. Dandy and Mudder are excellent with vision and jungle pathing, and they've just turned that into a winning strategy that at least a couple of weeks in, no one's been able to find out.
And I think if any champion really exemplifies that strategy, we have to look again at the mid lane. Hetong's Twisted Fate. First of all, fantastic on that champion, and Hetong has had great moments on other champs as well. But if you look at the way Vici play, Twisted Fate really just is the shining example of that sort of vision-oriented, rotation-based play. So teams, just start taking it away and see what else you can uncover about Vici.
It's worth knowing that Twisted Fate was banned against them twice by Snake. It was still a 2-0 victory. So the global pressure, I think, just adds a layer that's almost like too much. I feel like there's just too many options with Twisted Fate, where they seem to be able to get him through laning against any situation. It was actually a Twisted Fate versus Ari blind pick in one of the games. Cool had a lot of problems with that, but Vici managed to comp around it, and Hetong managed to navigate that lane and still go for the split push Twisted Fate. They play the Twisted Fate, I agree, just too damn well. So I think you have to ban out that champion to give yourself just a chance of wresting away the momentum that seems to start at 5 minutes in and never stop.
Yeah, and Hetong has 4 items now as well. 5, if you want to point out the Enchanted Sork Boots as well. Baron up minions causing some problems. Tandy and Vasili just taking out the turrets. And a beautiful split push here by Vici. No need to even rotate here. There's just too much for Royal to deal with the Baron buff and all the splitting up. They might try a fight here, but it's probably not going to end well. Vasili will get out of the way. Cola trying to dive in the back, but a beautiful ulti moving in. Name forced to flash it away, but dies to Hetong's picker card there as Blank will go down as well. Graves getting that kill. Cola going to be the next victim as Vasili gets a double. Korn going to dive back in, going to try and make some work on Vasili. Will get Moonfall back, but Mata there with a shield and an ulti to make it all okay. And Vici, in almost flawless fashion, will take the first game.
Vici 5-0 in terms of competitive scores, beating Gamty 2-0, beating Snake 2-0, a big step towards beating Starhorn Royal Club 2-0. This team has leveled up again and again, and suddenly are looking to playoffs and thinking we could be the ones to become LPL champions, because they're on that sort of form.
Yeah, they look absolutely terrifying so far. I mean, pushing towards the top spots, of course, EDG have claimed first already, but if Vici end the season at second, what a message that will be to everyone else entering the playoffs.
And look, it sounds weird to be giving superlatives to Vici Gaming like best team in China or performing up the best, because EDG are 22-0 in consecutive games. But remember, they've been experimenting. They've been playing a lot of Fizz mid. They've been playing, Clear Love's been picking up the Evelyn even before buffs come through from that champion. They haven't been pressured, but they're still winning. Vici, the surprising about they're bringing their A game every time, and just it looks so devastating. You just really want to see that EDG versus Vici matchup, because both these teams have really combined the strategic values of League of Legends with the combative Chinese style that we love.
Yeah, and it's brilliant to watch. We're going to get a little bit more of it after our break. Vici versus Royal Game 2 is coming right up.